If you were to take the Ohio State offense and paired it with the Browns defense, you might just have a Super Bowl team. I think I'm just still sad about the Browns getting their ass beat that I make that comparison.
You and me
But
both,
Ohio's
brother.
it's rough being a Browns fan. But we do always have the Buckeyes at least, and they continue to roll on, beating Ohio University 37-9. Um, Honestly, biggest takeaway from this game though, OU looked pretty good.
OU did look pretty good. Their quarterback, Parker Navarro. I'm a fan of this kid. He got hurt. He came back after halftime. He threw this beautiful ball that ended up being for a touchdown to put us on our toes a little bit. We had a 10-13 game, and I want to give myself a pat on the back real quick because I called this game a trap game.
It's
You
not.
got
It
mad
still
at me.
wasn't.
We were close with a granted a really good MAC team, but it was a MAC team at the end of the
Here's
day.
here's the thing though. We had 3 red zone trips in which we did not score. Um, it never felt like we were gonna lose. That's the thing. It almost like against Texas, which I get it, completely different team, but we still felt in control the whole way. There was no way OU was getting a sneaky win. Like it was never gonna happen. So I don't think it was a trap game at all. Hats off for sure to OU. They played a hell of a first half. Obviously, the more talent and bigger bodies were gonna win out at the end of the day, and that's why you saw the second half that you saw. But Ohio State still did its thing in the first half. We just didn't score points, and I get it. That's a big part of the game, but they looked just fine. I never had a doubt.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give myself a little bit more credit here, Eric, because
Oh, my bad.
you were trying to act like it was a cakewalk, and I would argue that this game for the first 2.5, 3 quarters wasn't a cakewalk,
That's
like I
still
said it was
insane.
gonna be.
You showed their one big play in which they scored a touchdown. That was it. The defense locked them the fuck down.
I get that, Eric, but we're also the Ohio State Buckeyes, and you should not only have 13 points going into half against a MAC school.
They're a good MAC school, MAC
They are
conference
a good
winner.
MAC school. They are a good MAC school.
Which
Um,
speaking of looking at their schedule, they meaning OU, they should not lose another game. So they've lost 2 games. They beat West Virginia. They stomped West Virginia, frankly.
yeah.
Lost to Rutgers by 3 and then lost to us, of course, but the rest of their schedule should be a cakewalk, right?
Yeah, I will be curious to see what they do. I've been trying to pay attention a little bit more to the Maction. My girlfriend goes to Akron, and so I'm
Fair.
trying to buy in a little bit, even though it's not
Boring.
the same quality of football that we're used to from the national champions.
You know I have to go there and say it's like trying to watch soccer in the United States compared to the Premier League. There's just such a gulf in talent. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Uh, you had said that Bo Jackson obviously is the standout that we need to talk about, and I agree. This kid's working his way up to be the number one back, not two, number one.
Yeah, so I know my take last week was maybe we don't know yet. Maybe we should load manage him. Maybe we should redshirt him. I saw enough in this game that I have flipped my script and joined the full blown give Bo Jackson more carries, give Bo Jackson more reps. Because he was awesome in this game again. He just eye test wise pops off the page compared to CJ Donaldson and the other running backs. Um, he's my guy right now. I will take the L gladly on the fact that I was thinking maybe we load manage him. No, he needs to play and he needs to play football now.
He is, on Ohio State anyway, the best true freshman back that I've seen since Maurice Claret, and that's definitely saying something. He hits the hole just different, man.
No, he
And
does. He's got that explosion that you see out of a lot of Ohio State running backs, but it's a different level. It gives Ezekiel Elliott during the championship runs. It gives. I'm trying to think. I mean, Maurice Claret's another example. 100%.
yeah. Turn now real quick to the passing game. Sayin was 25 of 32, 347 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, one of which was not his fault, tip pass. The other, he was just trying to do too much.
That
What I
that
like
interception that interception real quick. really bothers me because you gotta know better. And I know he's young. I know it's his first year starting, but you're throwing it to a defensive tackle. You just take the sack in that instance. So
Yeah,
that to me is a very big blemish on him for this game. And pretty much, I think the biggest blemish I can think of for this season for him thus far, because he's been pretty solid otherwise. The pick last week against Grambling State, well, 2 weeks ago,
in the
that
end
one
zone.
was decently bad in the end zone too. But this one was just unacceptable in my opinion. But you can't complain, but he still goes for 347 and 3 touchdowns.
And at least as of Saturday, he was still at 79% efficiency, which is the highest, he was that the week before as well, but the highest in college football.
Yeah. Yes, he was. We got to
What
give some love to Jeremiah Smith too.
Well, hold
Fastest.
on real
Oh,
quick. Pause
my
real
bad.
quick because I just wanna continue what I really like about what the Buckeyes are doing is they're pressing Sayin, really taking down the field shots, et cetera, which you have, as you're gonna talk about in one Jeremiah Smith soon, this receiving core is absolutely insane. Honestly, better receiving core than the Browns,
Oh,
which sounds
jeez.
insane, but I don't think that's,
No,
wrong.
it's not a hot take. It is not a hot
Right.
take at all.
Um
Unfortunately for us as Browns fans.
Yeah, but my point is they're letting him air it out because they know that they can do this sort of thing early. They're testing a little bit of everything right now, um, whether it be mixing in different run options, those down the field looks. They're changing things up because they know that when it's 14-7 against Penn State or they're trailing, whatever, that's not the time to experiment. And this offense is just going to continue to grow. And so far, they look incredible.
They do look incredible. And Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith is that guy, Eric.
He's
Is
that
he
guy.
not?
153 yards, I think it was.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah,
And of
Jeremiah
course,
Smith is a man playing with boys, and that sounds crazy, but he is by far it's gotten to the point. Here's what's really sad. Jeremiah Smith drops a pass and you go, "What was that?" Like the
right.
the man doesn't drop passes. And he's built different. I think the average hand size in the NSFL for a receiver is X. His is like so much bigger than that. Like he's a freak.
And I love how you said he's a man amongst boys, and you are talking about a 19-year-old
Right.
teenager at this
That's what's
point.
insane. Yeah. There's talk that if he entered the NFL today, he would be the best wide receiver in the NFL. And I think that might be a little hyperbolic. Justin Jefferson, we were watching the game, the Vikings game, the other day, and he had a great catch right before halftime. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some good receivers in the NFL is what I'm trying to say. Uh, but I don't know, he'd be top 10 probably.
Oh, and he'd be the number 1 pick right now too, in my opinion, unless there was some quarterback prospect, but, he's top 5 regardless, even at his ineligible age and ineligible class status right now. The other thing I wanted to touch on real quick, because we did talk about it on the show, was the fact that the stadium, they were gonna do the stripe game, remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
So, the students, they killed it. It looks
They pulled
good.
it off, yeah.
They pulled it off.
They
The
even got the
rest of
black on the sides.
the rest of the arena, though, you gotta
Yeah,
do
that's
better.
supposed to be all gray, which I give credit. There is a lot more gray than you'd normally see in there. But you and I had talked prior to this game that we thought they'd pull it off a little better than that,
Yeah.
but the gray was always a tough ask, I think.
The gray is a tough ask because the only thing I can think of is like main merchandise that's gray for the Buckeyes are the gray jerseys they wore last year. I mean, this is kind of niche in the fact that it's a GV artwork shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not as a big of a deal in Columbus as it is here in Cleveland. But I can't think of very much gray Buckeyes merch I've ever owned aside from maybe like a sweater and it was a warmer day. I don't know.
You know what's funny is until you had brought it up, watching the game, I forgot all about it. So I didn't even pick out like I wouldn't have because the sides what you don't really see that student section so much. What you see is the rest of the bowl and it just looked like a normal game with scarlet and some gray, but yeah, didn't pull that one off.
One last thing I want to touch on about this game, and then we can briefly, if you want to talk, it's bye week, obviously, and then we move to Washington, our first away game of this season. But I just want to give a shout out. Brutus, Rufus, they made up on national, well, not national TV, local closed circuit news, and then they had a tug of war match, and Brutus won.
Well, it was
So
national because it was Peacock. That was the only place to see the game.
no, you don't remember that clip I sent you where they did like the whole skit where they made up in the stadium and hugged?
No, no, I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying you
The
said
tug
not
of war no, the
national.
tug of war, yes, was on Peacock 100%, but the makeup was
I
not
I
on
got what you
Peacock.
on local news. I see what you're saying.
Yes,
Gotcha. Yeah,
yes.
they did make up no round 2 like people, had expected.
Damn it.
I didn't, just knowing that the first kid was expelled from school. I like that they played into it, though, that was kinda cool, and they had fun with it.
Did you notice that the announcers referenced the fact that the kid was dead set on beating up Brutus when he applied to be the mascot at OU? They brought it up
Oh,
at the
no.
beginning of the broadcast. It was hilarious.
Speaking of, I'm so glad you brought up the broadcast. Uh,
Oh, don't
they
get me
were
started.
awful, awful. First of all, in the very beginning of the play, one of the 2 announcers goes, "They're either gonna run it here or throw it here." Like, there wasn't really a third option, they weren't gonna punt on first down,
It wasn't
and
4th
then
down, brother.
they called, Ryan Day, Jason Day at one point, like, one of the worst announcing crews I can remember hearing in recent memory.
I at first enjoyed it, but then you started pointing out some of these nitpicks and I was like, yeah, this is pretty damn rough. And I get
They
it because it was Ohio State. It wasn't
Right,
a
you're
big
not gonna
matchup.
put
They're
your
not
A
going to
team.
but we
They
could have got
sounded
the C
decent,
team?
like,
Yeah.
they sounded okay, but how do you get things like the coach's name wrong? I don't know, there was just it was rough in my opinion.
It was rough indeed. Let's look forward to what's going on and touch on what happened around college football as well.
Yeah, so looking forward for Ohio State, as you mentioned, they're off this upcoming week, but then they travel out to Washington to face Washington, new Big Ten team. First away game, first road game. It shouldn't be too much of a struggle for us. Washington is not the same Washington that has made the playoffs for a few years. They're not as good of a team, but first test away and out of the shoe.
Yeah, and they are 2-0 right now. They haven't played anyone of super big note. They play their rival in-state, Washington State, this coming up weekend, and then they play us. So I'll be keeping an eye on that game just to see what they, of course, do over there in Washington. The Huskies against what is Washington State's mascot? It's slipping my name mind right now.
Washington State is,
Cougars,
yes,
Cougars.
the
Yes, it is.
Cougars, yeah. It's that
Um,
red, like it's actually a cool logo that they
No,
have.
that's a good it is a good logo. Something I wanna touch on real quick too, the AP poll is obviously out. Notre
Mhm.
Dame is 0-2. They are still a top 25 ranked program right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, they lost a close game, they put up a lot of points, but there are certain teams that are gonna get more favors in these rankings, and Notre Dame's definitely one of those teams.
Yeah, for sure. It's the name value. It's thinking, one of the blue bloods of college football or whatever you want to say. So I get it, but it's kind of crazy to think that an 0-2 team is still ranked nationally. I thought they would have fallen off and then had to have climbed back because I think there's still a good chance they go 10-2, 9-3, and deserve a top 25 ranking. But
You know
two
who did fall
losses.
out, though?
Who did?
Clemson.
Clemson did, and they deserve to. They
They
lost another
for sure.
game. They're 1-2, and it's hilarious to me that Dabo Sweeney said before the season he views this team as a team that could go 12-0, and now he's sitting at 1-2, looking at a interesting deficit to make and carve a path towards the college football playoffs.
I will say that this is one of the most surprising things of the season. Um, I'm not just saying because it was my take, it was a lot of takes around college football and sports talk that Clemson was going to be one of the teams that could compete this year. They finally used the portal. They had Cade Klubnik back. Obviously, I think they're a well coached team in Dabo Sweeney. Like, I don't like the guy, but he's a good coach. They
Right.
look terrible. Like, they look
Yeah, it's
absolutely
been
awful.
rough. It's been rough for them indeed. I'm curious to see how they progress and move past this. We've already seen some firings happen around I was going to say the National College Football League, which isn't a thing, but
It's
it should be at this point.
right,
UCLA's coach
basically.
gets fired and whatnot. So it'll be curious to see how some of these storylines and players and names that we thought were going to be bigger deals in this college football season continue to navigate and figure out what's next for them. Arch Manning's another name that comes to mind because he had a shaky game again as well.
He's not
Heisman,
good.
he's a
He's
Heisman favorite at
period.
the beginning of the season, and now he looks mid at best. He's young, he's got time to grow. But any of my fellow Browns fans out there that were thinking this is going to be our franchise quarterback in the draft next year, he's going back to Texas already.
This is the most overhyped player I can remember in recent memory, and I'm not even sure, is he going back to Texas? Like, yeah, they're pulling off wins, but if he keeps playing like he's playing, I don't know, I might bench him. I mean,
That's
that's a risky move for Steve Sarkisian for sure, but
that's a
the name
spicy
doesn't
take
win
for.
games.
Yeah, that's fair, but that's a spicy take for another day because you're winning still. I don't know.
By the
It's
way,
early and he's young. Go ahead.
uh, how about Big Ten dominance? Number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Penn State, number 6, Oregon, number 9, Illinois.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that about rounds it up. Indiana at 19, Michigan at 21, um, USC at 25. Always forget their Big Ten.
Yeah.
Big Ten's looking really good, but talking about Ohio State's schedule moving forward, obviously Penn State's that big one that's circled on the calendar in October, but they also have Illinois, who that's a true trap game. They're at number 9 right now. They are a good looking football team.
Yeah, they
And
are.
that comes up prior to Penn State.
Yeah, those are two big games. I'm excited for the month of October for Ohio State football because we have some real games with some big stakes. And I don't know. I'm confident as I should be. I feel like as a Buckeye fan. I mean, we are the Ohio State Buckeyes at the end of the day, which I hate saying because I feel cocky when I say that. But
Finally.
there is no other way to look at it for the time being other than we are the Ohio State Buckeyes. You know what I mean? So until we get beat, I'm not going to act like we're going to be beat. Penn State does scare me this year, but James Franklin is still also a fraud. So we'll see.
And will always be one. Real quick, UCLA, you mentioned their head coach was fired. That means that the window opens for players to potentially leave. They have a 30-day window since the coach is gone. Is Nico going anywhere?
I don't know. We shall see potentially because they look abysmal, but who knows? It's always a crapshoot,
Nico,
right?
I'ma leave ya.
Yeah, right. I'm Olivia.
Uh, yeah, it is a crapshoot, but they are not a good-looking football team. I mean, they might not win a game.
No, they might not. We'll see, bad. I'm excited. Well, excited, I guess, is a harsh term to use there, but I'm interested to see what happens with these teams and players being able to transfer. The new transfer portal rules are still so confusing and weird to navigate, even though I'm all for the player empowerment side of it.
Yeah, by the way, that was I think the UCLA head coach, if I'm not mistaken, was only in tenure for those 3 games. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yep.
That's not a good transfer decision.
No.
And that is certainly hurting his draft stock, I would imagine. All right,
100%.
we are live one last time for now. This week. Coming up on Sunday, we'll be live from Muni Lot before the Packers Browns game. Probably not feeling very good about our odds in that game, but we're going to have fun in Muni for sure. We'll be at the front of Muni Lot at the kennel. That's that big bus with the face mask on the front. It should be a good time. We'll have some giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, we also have another giveaway.
We do have a giveaway. We are giving away a Cleveland Browns jersey of your choice. All you have to do is subscribe to At the Office here on the page, leave a comment on a recent video, and you will be entered to win a Browns player jersey of your choice from the At the Office boys to your front door.
Absolutely. Jersey of your choice, not like the player of your choice, we should say, not like a game worn.
I said player jersey after the fact.
Okay.
I said player jersey after the fact.
Uh,
If you request us for a game worn Miles Garrett jersey, I'm sorry, but the funds are not funding that at this point in time.
I'll tell you this, if separate of this giveaway, if somebody out there can go get us 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will personally buy you a game worn any jersey you want. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's the limit on that one. Noah, before we get out of here, anything else to add about this game, about Ohio State,
OH?
about life? IO.
Alright, that's all I got.
All right. Well, the debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.